the moat where you probably saw there was an explosion in that, what looked like a river. In fact, that was basically a sewage line. So this is probably the most graphic and the most horrible image. Like, so you got people that are so desperate that they're willing to go through all of that danger to then get to huge crowds, getting pushed back or getting shouted at or getting, pushed by shields or maybe hit with a stick, to keep the crowds back, because it was absolute chaos and it was so dangerous, even just the crowds. And then you've got that point where you have to then climb down through sewage and then up a wall, and then in the chance that the military will pull you up. You can't pull out everybody. And I'm there and I'm looking down and there's there's women with babies and there's like young girls in school uniforms, and they're just covered in whatever. And as I say, they're just like begging you for help. That's the hardest test I've had, for sure, and I've been in some pretty interesting situations, and that really, really got to me. It really did.
None of us, I think, had any idea it would turn out the way it would. But what was going through your head, particularly in those weeks and days leading up to the Taliban actually taking over?
I honestly did not foresee the Afghan military and the Afghan police just downing their arms with little or no resistance. And that was what really got me nervous as soon as that happened, because that happened on like day 2 of when basically they were waiting outside. And I say they, obviously on the news you could see it was like rows of obviously Taliban fighters. They said about 10,000 or up to 10,000. And of course, seeing that on the news in the screen in the office, when you're like, hang on, that's a kilometre away, that was really unnerving, because, and of course, then it started saying, oh yeah, they're going to be allowed into the city. And of course, I thought, well, this is really unusual. And the hardest thing that really shook me was the sheer panic level.
Talk to me about your time actually in jail with the Taliban. I know this was one of the most harrowing episodes of this entire ordeal.
Immediately quite aggressive, very anti-West, and basically straight away it was like, that you're a spy. And I'm like, no, this is no, you're, and it's got, and basically it was like, take him away. And of course, once that happened, everyone's seen that movie, haven't they? And I was like, this is not good at all. And then we were taken straight into another room. They started basically shouting at us in Pashtun language. Now, I don't know much Pashtun, so I know more Dari and Arabic. So basically, I didn't really know what they were saying, but you could kind of get the point.
So you were subjected to a lot of violence during your imprisonment. Tell me the sorts of things they did to you. What were they saying? How violent did it become?
When you're slapped by a 6-foot-tall Taliban guy that completely obviously hates you because you got blue eyes, basically, and he thinks you're a spy, it hurts. And of course, immediately it was weird, because you had to. That's when they sort of talk about the. You got to snap into it. You got to realise your situation and see how you're going to deal with it. So, from the outset, I decided to, no matter how much it hurt, that went on for a good sort of 40 minutes, and it was a very uncomfortable situation. I mean, there was just basically a line of 4 of them, so I was sitting here, and then they're sitting basically where you are, and they're just asking you a question and then whack, but you'll be there trying to talk to one of them, and you'll get hit from the other side by someone else. It was very disorientating, very aggressive and nasty. And of course, that was literally the start. It's like, hey, welcome. Then they moved me from that office, and that's when they put the the bag over the head. And of course, that is just the most horrible thing in the world. Like, you know, it doesn't matter how many times you train for it or whatever. When it's happening for real, it's just not nice, because you don't know where you are, you don't know where you're going. They were shoving us down some stairs. It was horrible because they were like holding arm either side, and then there was a guy behind that basically like kicked you down the stairs, and these were like just, you know, concrete stairs. Okay, so that was, you know, when you're getting kicked downstairs and you can't see, it was quite horrible. Then they basically took us into an area that was like super aggressive and really quite horrible. So what they did is they made you sit on the floor with your legs crossed, and it was literally just like kicking and punching and elbowing, screaming, shouting, and it was all directions, like 360. So basically what I remember doing is just basically, I just thought, well, okay, this is gonna hurt, it's gonna hurt bad, but you know, you need to kind of keep yourself mobile. You don't know how long you're going to be there for, you don't know what conditions you're going to be in. That was probably the longest 20 minutes of my life, being honest. And it was just so aggressive, and you could sense the hatred. It was really, really bad.
And throughout this time that you were in jail, what was your lowest point, mentally and physically as well?
The lowest point was basically as soon as you've gone through all of that, it's when that cell door closed. When that door shuts, and it's all happened so fast, that's when you truly realise that you're like, you know, you don't know how long you're going to be there for. You don't know if you're going to survive. You don't know what's going on. Do people know where I am? Do people know who or what I am? So effectively, the first 2.5 weeks there, I had to deal with basically them thinking I was their worst candidate, so to speak. And I'm in a cell that was clearly not a normal jail, not by any stretch. It was for interrogation, detaining, and it was they were professionals. And as I say, that was my lowest point, when that door shut for the first time, and you got no carpet. It was bad. Things were improving, and then they gave me back control of my phones, which is really bizarre. Like you're detained, but you got control of your phones, and that was when I certainly knew that at some point I'd obviously be released. But I say, like, the whole situation, even when it was like violent and not violent, the whole 5 weeks was an emotional roller coaster. It was very stressful. I didn't know I was being released until 20 minutes before I was in the air, basically.